Well, joining me is the author of that letter to the Prime Minister, Brigadier Adrian de Hage, winner of the Military Medal in the Vietnam War and now a best-selling novelist. Brigadier de Hage, thank you so much for joining me. What is your problem with the Defence Forces letting a male officer express their gender fluidity by wearing a dress?
Well, the Australian Army have now issued orders that allows male commanders to parade in female uniforms, wearing a dress, makeup, earrings, nail polish. And essentially that means that servicemen, they don't have a choice. They're compelled to follow commanders that turn up in dresses. Now, look, I suspect the great majority of serving men and indeed women don't have a problem with the very small number of men who are non-binary, who don't identify as either male or female, or who are gender fluid, depending, they wake up one day and feel like a woman, wake up the next day feel like a male, in normal civilian community. But the Australian Defence Force is different. Now, as we've seen so tragically with the Taipan helicopter crash a little while ago in the Whitsundays, they put their lives, along with other first responders, on the line every day of the week.
Yeah, but what's wrong? A soldier, I guess, could still be an efficient killing machine, even wearing nail polish and lipstick. What is it about doing that makes them less efficient on the battlefield?
Well, it's got nothing to do with their intellect. They might be highly competent. But as I said in my letter to Prime Minister Albanese, I'm having a great deal of trouble imagining the reaction of the men the day I took over command of the 6th Battalion, if I waltzed up in front of them wearing a dress, earrings, makeup, and nail polish. Now, it's about respect and morale. I have no doubt that the regimental sergeant major and RSMs and NCOs are the backbone of the Australian Army. He would have had to remind the men that mutiny is still punishable by firing squad. And it is. They've never taken it off the books. It's Section 98 of the Defence Act of 1903. And he would then have followed that by knocking on my door with, "Could we have a word, sir?"
Is this the difference then? Like in civilian life, you can say, look, someone, a man turns up at work or whatever wearing nail polish lipstick, says, I'm now non-binary, or I've changed my gender or whatever. And, so what? People got to get used to it, work around it, whatever. It's none of their business. But in a military sense, you have to actually command the respect of the soldiers you lead as an officer in this case. You have to form a very tight, mutually supporting unit for that will survive warfare. It's something different is going on there, isn't it?
It is very different. And respect and morale are key elements in a fighting force. This sort of policy is going to have widespread implications. Firstly, it's going to affect our reputation. Can you imagine if we had a male officer turn up to a conference in the Pentagon, for example, wearing a dress and makeup and earrings and nail polish?
Well, that's not a very good example, Brigadier, because the US has got now an admiral, I believe the rank is, of a transgender woman. So that may not be, under the Biden White House, a very good example. But listen, maybe try Israel or try Russia or try China, and I think you'll get a really good argument there. Any response to your letter to Anthony Albanese?
Well, no, and the Prime Minister is busy with other issues at the moment. I would expect a response though eventually from his office. But given the fact that I sent it to him and the two ministers and the secretary and the service chiefs, it's gone viral through various outlets. But look, the responsibility for this is social engineering. We are pandering. The Defence Force, I've indicated, is very, very different. We are pandering to fringe elements of society, which is fine in normal society. But the responsibility for this rests on the Chief of the Defence Force, Angus Campbell's desk. And if he ordered this, or if he hasn't stopped it, he quite frankly should resign. Now, he's not going to resign because I appear on, as influential as your program might be, Andrew, he's not going to resign for that reason. But if he doesn't, then the Prime Minister and the Minister ought to terminate his appointment, because you cannot have a Defence Force allowing male officers to parade in dresses and makeup. It just doesn't work.
Well, Brigadier Darget, let us see if you do get a response. I'd be very interested to know what it'll be. Let us know. And as you say, your letter has gone viral, so a lot of people have taken a great interest in this. Thank you so much for your time.
No, it's my pleasure, Andrew.